love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, but we got Charles Bishop back in the house. We have AD Drew. How are you two gentlemen doing? Let me start with you, Charles. How are you doing today?
You're doing well, Doc. Doing well. We about a month away from Media Day now, so I mean it's just you look up and it's go time right before you know it.
No, don't remind me. I was trying to take a little bit off. You know, I got Juneteenth coming up tomorrow. On Thursday, I should say. So, you know, I was trying to take a step back before you push me forward and reminded me it's around the corner. Let's go.
We here.
Drew, are you gonna get any break since Charles is telling you that it's time to go back to work?
Specifically, it is 28 days to SIAC Media Day, 28 days to day one of CIAA Media Day, 29 days to SWAC Media Day, 30 days to the BAC SWAC press conference, and 35 days to MEAC Media Day. If you want to get technical, Charles.
Charles, is anybody counting?
It looks like somebody counting. Somebody got
that being said, exactly. Let me do this appropriately. Welcome to episode 672 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports, for institutions large and small. From the NEIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports coach, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta, along with my co-hosts, Charles Bishop and AD Drew. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, that's multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper, and a beautiful home at Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THD Agency. THD Agency is a company that provides sporting, educational consulting, and data analytics. Again, with that being said, glad to have you. Hey, Charles, I've ran the data in terms of my Division 1, major division, as we like to call it, HBC major division, top AD/VPs of athletic rankings. But we will do a little tease and hold that off until Thursday. Last segment, I do want to ask you, each of you, your own definitions. I've kind of told you how I ranked it over the years, and we'll go over that even more on Thursday of how you come up with the rankings. But I would be interested in you all giving me some thoughts in terms of your rankings, but we'll save that to the last segment. With that being said, I'm going to go back to you, Charles. What's on your mind in terms of HBCU news the week?
Yeah, let's start out. Let's talk a little bit about UAPB's Jordan Pierre. University of Arkansas Pine Bluffs men's track and field standout Jordan Pierre delivered an impressive performance on this past Friday night at the 2025 NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championship, proving that he belongs with the nation's elite, competing at the iconic Haywood Field. The sophomore blazed through the 400-meter dash in a time of 45.75 seconds to secure a third-place finish on the podium. Pierre's performance earned him the prestigious first-team All-American honors, marking a historic achievement for both himself and the Golden Lions program. So kudos to Jordan Pierre.
He's been showing up for some time now, and he got on the big stage and got it done. Brought home essentially what we would call in the Olympics the bronze, which means you're on the podium, which is a big deal when you have all those runners. You think about that, nationwide Division I. He finishes third in the 400-meter dash. That's significant. So shout out to Pierre as he gets it done. That's Jordan Pierre from UAPB, the Golden Lions, on the men's side, getting it done. Drew, let me go to you and see what direction you want to go. You going to stay in track and field, or are you going in a different direction?
I am going to stay in track and field, and Pierre was not the only person to come away from Eugene with a medal, Charles. How about Marcia Say had her best performance in a Bison uniform, winning the bronze medal in the 100-meter hurdles with a time of 12.93. Her third place finish in Eugene is the highest performance in program history. Additionally, the British native received All-American First Team honors. But I'm not done. She also ran another race, and that being the 4x100, and Kaylee Collins, Marcia Say, Tiffany Ray Pittman, and Ayana Gray Williams finished sixth in the 4x1, clocking in at 43.23. One medal, two finals. As a track athlete, I'll take that any day in the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty doggone good. Shout out to Howard University Lady Bison up there in Washington, D.C., getting it done as they get the play-by-play. Interesting to see if these individuals that are taking care of business and making their ADs look good. Wanted to see if any of those come up in that top 6 list in terms of ADs. We will have to see on Thursday. With that being said, speaking about ADs getting it done, I want to kind of get your thoughts on this. Norfolk State women's basketball agrees to home and home series with, University of Mississippi. No, they use their own naming nomenclature, but it is what it is. Norfolk State University has finalized a home and home series with the national ranked University of Mississippi for the next 2 seasons, marking a significant opportunity for Norfolk State women's basketball to compete at the highest level and continue to elevate the program national profile. The schedule agreement coordinated through the leadership of Norfolk State University's athletic administration and coaching staff reflects the program's ongoing commitment to building a competitive and national recognized schedule. We know what Norfolk State has done over the years in terms of their women's basketball program. Men, not to be too shabby there, doing a lot of work too. But one of the coaches there has left on and actually ended up going to the SEC. But still, that legacy in terms of what that program expects to be is pretty good there. This game is scheduled to be in Oxford, Mississippi, November 3rd, 2025, with Mississippi visiting Eccles Hall for the first time the following season in 2026. Tip-off times for both will be announced, as you imagine, at a later date. Speaking of ADs getting it done, check this quote out. Quote, "This is an exciting moment for women's basketball program and the entire Norfolk State community," end quote. Vice President of Director of Athletics, Dr. Melody Webb, said, quote, "Hosting a national ranked SEC opponent at Eccles Hall speaks volumes about the direction we're headed and the reputation we're building. With 2 nationally ranked programs set to visit over the next 2 seasons, our fans can look forward to elite level basketball right here in Norfolk. The upcoming matchup will mark the first meeting between the 2 programs. Norfolk State went 2-1 against the SEC opponents last season, earning wins over Missouri and Auburn, as we all stated several times last year, in terms of where they might be ranked. And it worked out well for the NCAA tournament, even though things didn't quite go their way in the tournament. It was exciting to see down the stretch in terms of their winning the major division on the women's side's national championship, number 1 ranking, obviously. But your thoughts in terms of the magnitude of seeing something like this? Charles, obviously, you've got a chance to see Jackson State women's basketball program rep at elite level and have similar opportunities. So I'm sure that you are familiar and have your thoughts in terms of what does this mean as HBCUs, particularly the MEAC and Norfolk State specifically, in terms of having opportunities like this?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, it opens up the pool, definitely, I think, for recruiting purposes in terms of trying to get some players in there in terms of when you're playing some top-notch competition. I think you've seen Jackson State's program, the women's program, really kind of elevate over the years in terms of some of the competition they were playing. I think, getting that opportunity to play LSU, that really put a spotlight on the program. So you get an opportunity for Norfolk State to put even more of a spotlight on the program. This program has gone 2-1 against it. So.
Go ahead, Drew. What are your thoughts?
I wonder if this game will have the same luster with Coach Larry Vickers not at Mississippi State. Lord Jesus, at Norfolk State. Mm-hmm. Now, I wonder if the game will have the same luster as it would have, say, last year or 2 years ago with those couple of teams that we've seen come out of Norfolk. I'm afraid it's a good game. I'm just afraid that this series may be starting a year too late. I'm just
happen that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's just my thing, because the last thing that we need to do is have a non-competitive game. The game needs to be competitive, and I know last year's team and even possibly the 2024 team, they would have more than a punch of chance of going in that game and getting the dub. So
absolutely,
this year, 25-26, I'm hoping just for, can we keep it to single digits? Can we keep it under 15 type game? Just being honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's why I asked. I think it's important, those contexts. Wonder what this means for recruiting in the offseason. Now that you talk about, obviously, they hit the road for the first one, but coming back home, you get a chance to play against SEC opponent at home in the following year, so it could help you on that side of things. We'll get a little more in Norfolk State. Keep it coming. Put your updates. I see people talking about their ADs and how they ranking them. Some of those seem like maybe on top of the list. We'll see on Thursday. But shout out, put that out there. Obviously, we got the move in baseball. Prairie A&M is now in the business of looking for a baseball coach. So they decided to go in a different direction. I caught some people off guard. Some people at Prairie View were expecting it. I was hearing something different, but things change quite rapidly in this business, and it seemed like that was the case. Baseball, interesting. Yeah. Charles said he's seen that quite a bit of late. With that being said, let's take our first break and come back on the other side. I want to talk a little bit about the announcement that came out yesterday from the SWAC office in regards to the House NCAA settlement and the question about opting in, opting out. Last Thursday, we had 17.5, 18.5.
It means I'm wrong.
In terms of that, this tilts it in the direction where Brian might be in trouble unless he gets some major announcements out of the MEAC. He was not thinking about all 12 SWAC schools, and I think it might happen. But you already got essentially 4 in the MEAC, so you're essentially at 16.
Yeah, Brian's hitting the number better than I am, because I said 11. I went the under. I said 50%, which would have been 11.5, which would have been the under. I was
with
totally
one
wrong.
conference, it's done.
I was totally wrong with the whole SWAC. The whole SWAC opt in. I'm done. I'm toast.
He said that too. We'll be right back on the other side to get a little more into that to see what does this mean for the SWAC. What does this say? So stick with. We'll be right back after this first break.
There's a shot. It might be. It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you, guys, for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeaversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC, Southern, Eagles, Jaguars, the Marching Sound Machine, the Human Jukebox. The kickoff trophy is up for grabs, and bragging rights are on the line. The rivalry is real. Bring the family and join us pre-game for the fun-filled Coca-Cola fan experience, including band jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets,
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want to lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop and AD Drew. With that being said, let me read this press release straight from the email that was sent out to media in regards to some dialogue that took place in the 2025 annual spring meeting of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Destin, Florida. What a nice place to have your meeting, I will say. The Southwest Athletic Conference 2025-2026 annual spring meetings was held this past Friday and Saturday, with key topics being discussed by league membership administrators. All 12 SWAC member institutions have opted in to the House settlement. Additionally, the league placed no scholarship caps on any sports in which the conference currently sponsors. Quote, this is undoubtedly a significant amount for the Southwestern Athletic Conference and our 12-member institutions, end quote, said SWAC Commissioner Dr. Charles McCullen. Quote, as we move forward into a new era of intercollegiate athletics in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, remain steadfast in our commitment to provide our membership with the resources needed to positively impact our student athletes academically and athletically. Remember, we talked about the fact last week, $2 billion was owed to former student athletes over 10 years. All 31 Division I conferences are paying into that. For the SWAC, that's about $300K per institution, particularly with them opting in. So I do want you to consider that when you give your thoughts on this perspective. And then I'll follow up with some more details in terms of that. Let me go to you, AD Drew. What are your thoughts when you heard the statement, when you heard the release, and people all over social media talking about all 12 SWAC schools were opting in?
First, I want to start with a point of personal privilege. SWAC holding their meetings at Destin on a Friday and a Saturday, and my conference, all I get to do is go 10 miles from my house for our annual meeting. You know, something about this ain't right. I chose the wrong conference. I'm just saying, man. But now,
I can see that was about to go somewhere.
I mean, I mean, was at a hotel at the airport. Nice hotel. Now, don't get me wrong, but there's a difference when I can walk out the hotel and go put some sand between my toes versus go and put some gravel out the parking lot between my toes. There's just a little bit of a difference with that, man.
It's a little slight difference.
Just slight difference. But anyway, getting back to your question at hand, Dr. Cavil. Shocking, but not shocking at the same time. You know, I'm going to start it off with this. Dr. Cavil and Charles, I'm going to go buy me a new car. I just made a statement that I'm going to go buy me a new car. But if I don't have the money for the down payment, Or if I can't afford the monthly payments, I'm just talking out the side of my neck. That's a fame. I'm trying to keep the HBCU thing because that's a famous song that we like to play. Our beautiful bands like to play, and I think that's what some of these institutions may be doing right now, because you just stated, Dr. Cavil, $300 million per institution over 10 years, which is $30 million per year, which is double, triple, quadruple some of our schools' budgets. Now, we know that money is not directly coming out of the budget, but that money is coming out of the payout that each school gets, primarily from the Division I basketball money. Some of our schools are going to be hard pressed just absorbing that portion of this of this house settlement. Then you're talking about potentially putting yourself in position to offer NIL and revenue sharing when we can't even offer the current level of scholarships. In addition to being able to go up to some of these new scholarship limits, we can't even offer cost of attendance to some of our student athletes. Yeah, sounds good. We know a lot for some of these check games, you had to have been opted in order to play some of the big boys with the check games. And I know that probably had a lot to do with why we opted in. But once again, it sounds good. It looks good. In reality, it means absolutely nothing.
I think there are a lot of doubters out there, to say the least, or those that are concerned because they hadn't seen it and what they have commitment. But I want to go to Charles with his thoughts from his perspective.
I think that's a very valid way to look at it, AD. I think the thing, at least, that's given me hope, that's made me curious. I think Dr. McClellan has said for a while now, we're going to develop a best practices document to give to the presidents and chancellors in terms of, taking a look at how they're going to attack this. So and he stated we're in a good position from a revenue standpoint. How does that translate to each school? I'm not sure, but it at least, gives me some hope that, it's been well thought out in terms of, how they're going to attack this, new era of college athletics. So I don't know, what that means, but at least I have some hope, that the opting in that they forecasted. And I think, Dr. Cavil, you said this for a long time. We're not dealing with dummies. Nobody's dummies here. These are extremely smart individuals who have thought things through, so to speak. So they aren't jumping into something haphazardly.
Can I rebut that?
Sure.
And you make valid points there, Charles. My concern is, will some of our presidents get out of some of the athletic directors and some of the other people's way and allow them to do some of the things that they need to do? Because first of all, this is something that no one really knows what they're doing. Let's be honest. This is all brand new to
swimming in the dark
to all of us. Will these presidents offer them the support that they need? Will they give them the people with the business sense that we need? If you're going to dive all the way in, and we know some of our institutions are in a much better place to dive in than some of our other institutions. I mean, hell, you're going to need somebody who's almost a capologist or benefitologist, because they're using salary benefit, not salary cap. So you're going to need a benefitologist. You're going to need a full-time marketing person to be able to go out and get this. This can't be your SID. This can't be anything else that we have. You're going to have somebody, and you may need multiple people. You may need a football marketing person. You may need a basketball marketing person. You may need a baseball marketing person. Will these presidents get out of the way of athletics? Let them think outside the box, because not everything they're going to do is going to work, and give them the patience to feel their way through it. That's the question that I have.
I think excellent questions all the way around. And I think some of the points that you made, which are really important, is that this is new to everybody. So from that standpoint, while there is a gap in terms of the financial autonomy, obviously the Super 2 versus the Power 2, the G5 and the FCS programs, and the variation within that, have to look at it in terms of their financial beings. But it'll be fascinating. But the other one is, I want to share this. We're working, as you talked about, Charles, Media Day coming up. We're looking at doing an interview that will feature 3 of the SWAC institutions that are said to have GMs. I know one of them is Prairie View. I can put that on the table on the record that has been completed. The guy, Christopher Williams, Dr. Christopher Williams, I should say, is working in that capacity now. I will not name the other 2 institutions in the SWAC that are said to have GMs because they haven't announced them themselves, so I'll let them be able to do that. But my understanding that there are 2 other institutions beyond Prairie View, and we're working to see if we can have an interview with those individuals at the SWAC Media Day, as things should be announced by then. And I think that'll give a little more information in terms of some of the questions you have, because you're right. As you said, not a capologist, but I do like the new terminology you came up with, Drew. Play it again.
Benefitologist.
Benefitologist. Put on the table to make sure that you get full credit when that becomes a thing. You put that out there first, at least from what I've heard. Certainly the first one to say it on this show. We can say that for sure. But I wanted to put that out there. I also wanted to share a little other construct of this that may provide just a little more vision. Football previously limits, these are estimates, was 80 to 130 players. And the new limit is 105. But remember, they're still governed by the 85 scholarship framework, if you would. All right. So we got to think about that too, that there's different language. So oftentimes we're thinking about scholarshiping to the full amount, all 105. That is not the case. Specifically for FCS, previously, as everybody is pretty aware of, there were 63 FCS football scholarships that could be spread over 85 players, including partial scholarships. Something like that was similar at the Division II level, but this is a Division I thing, so I want to focus on that. FCS schools that opt in but still face a conference-wide, or really a FCS-wide 63 scholarship cap, I know you don't like to use that, benefit, can now spread those 63 scholarships over 105 players instead of 85. So it's not like you're going to pay them all full scholarships. So you don't necessarily have to think about that your financial is going to automatically kick up. Now it can, because some people that were given 50 scholarships may decide to go up to 63 scholarships, spread it over 105 players. Some of them may get full, some don't. You also get the fact that a lot of the players have Pale, so that could be part of this formula, which gets back to Drew's framework. With the Pale, you're not necessarily playing cost of living, right? Which is a different framework.
Yeah.
So let's think about that as well, that this may not be all about just going full tilt. There could be a stair-step way to increasing the financial demand in terms of what that looks like. And we'll get in that in the next segment when we talk about ticket pricing variability strategy, which is something that I see schools getting into now, which I'm happy about. I've been singing this as a canary in the coal mine, it seems like, over the last 5-10 years since Charles took my class in terms of sport managed marketing, when we got in a little part of the finance part of that. The other thing I did wanted to bring on the table is just the other sports. We'll do this before we take our next break and get into that ticket talk. Men's basketball previous limits was 16 and 17 players, and the new limit actually goes down. It's 15. Women's basketball previous limits was 16 and 17 players, and the new limit actually goes down, which is 15. Baseball previous limits was 35 players, 35 plus players, and the new limit is 34. So it actually what? Goes down. Women's soccer, the previous limit was 25 to 35 players, and the new limit actually what? Goes down to 28. Softball, the previous limit was 25 to 30 players, and the new limit, guess what? Goes down to 25. Cross country, the previous limit was 10 to 20 athletes, and the new limit is just 17. So it goes down. So you actually see in a lot of cases that your limit in terms of your roster actually goes down. And so your ability to spread the money over that should be interesting as well. So again, this new language really is going to get us getting used to for us just seeing these limits and thinking that all that means if you opt in, you're fully engaged in giving full scholarships at the maximum numbers, which is just not the case. So there's some things that we have to really kind of wrap our mind around a little more to talk about that. But like I said, I want to get into our third segment where we talk a little bit about this ticketing uniqueness. And we have a story out there about the ticket demand, or at least the pricing strategy at Norfolk State. We have some out there on A&T. We already heard previously that Jackson State's athletic director, Ashley Robinson, was one of the first out the gate as he saw things going into it, as he talked about getting his constituents ready that they were going to put a $2 or $3 additional tax, surcharge, whatever you want to call it, on ticket prices. And that money was going to go directly to NIL money for college athletes, football, and even some of that towards the band, which I think is simply brilliant because in the HBCU culture, the marching sport is certainly synonymous. And none other than bigger places. Can you say that one of them is Jackson State University with the Sonic Boom of the South? So we're seeing in that following trend. I've heard a lot of folks at Jackson State and some of the talk out there were talking about they would prepare to even play a little more than that. They liked it. They were not upset about it, particularly when they heard where it was going to go and what it could mean for their program. So we'll see a little bit more of that. I think you see that already in the ticket variability, but we'll get on the other side and take a deeper dive in that, talk a little bit about these articles out there and get these two gentlemen's thoughts as we kind of get into the summer months where we take a deeper dive into the business side of sports, particularly HBCU sports right here on the lab. We'll be right back after our second break and move into that third segment.
I'm attorney Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Attention football fans. The Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff is back in Atlanta on August 23rd. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC Southern. Join us at Center Park Stadium for a full day of tailgating, football, and bands. For more information and tickets, visit MEACSWACchallenge.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop and A.D. Drew. Want to get in a little bit of this talk here. I'm going to go first to the Michael Vick, Norfolk State, or at least what some are attributing to him. Obviously, with the NIL, I would think the ticket prices are probably going to go up a little bit anyway, but they seem to have gone up significantly. So I want to see what your thoughts on this. Michael Vick's arrival sparks big ticket price jump in Norfolk State from HBCU. As you know, we got in those notes there with the media day news. Norfolk State, under new head coach Michael Vick, has raised its season ticket prices for 2025 HBCU football season. The increase comes after school hired NFL legend Michael Vick as head coach December 24th, ushering a new era for Spartan football. Check this out. General admission season tickets now cost $200, up from $110 in 2024. 82% jump, almost double. Reserve seating, where it really gets interesting, which was $130 last year, is expected to increase as well, though updated figures have not been released. Faculty and staff tickets previously priced at $100 are also likely to see adjustments. Drew, come to you first. Get you into this little talk, but let me tease you and set you up because I want to do this as well. I'm gonna do this in combination. As A&T has some news in terms of their football game costs. HBCU football games will cost North Carolina A&T fans from HBCU Game Day. The other one's for HBCU Sports. Make sure I give our colleagues the due process as they put the news out here, fast and furious. North Carolina A&T has released its individual game ticket prices for 2025 football season. HBCU matchups come at a premium. Premium prices for HBCU rivals. Fans will notice a clear pricing difference depending on opponents. The Aggies are changing noticeable more for their 3 home games against the fellow HBCU fans than for matchups against the CAA, the Colonial Athletic Association, better known as the Coastal Athletic Association. HBCU Game Day mean to these folks. They ain't changed and put it in the correct name. That wasn't just me. That was them. The premium home games included Hampton, North Carolina Central, South Carolina State. One of those is a conference game. These schools are all HBCUs and strong fan following and deep-rooted rivalries with A&T, which is another part of this. These are rivalry games. Reserved tickets for these games are $65. General admission costs $50. Non-A&T student tickets are $32, while children tickets are $22. In contrast, the 3 regular home games feature CAA members Campbell, Towson, and Monmouth. Reserve tickets for these matchups are $50. In terms of reserve, that's what, $15 cheaper. General admissions is $40, $10 cheaper. Student tickets are $22, $10 cheaper. And children tickets are $13, a whopping $9 cheaper. Group rates, 19 for adults and 8 for children, are also available for these games, but not for the higher price HBCU content. Hey, I'm just reading the release. This was out there. Why y'all laughing at me? I'm going to go with you, A.D. as a kind of setter. What are your thoughts in terms of a lot of things going here? Different direction you can go. I set it up like this on purpose. But there's also part of this where some of this ticket pricing could help in terms of NIL, money that goes to athletes. So your overall thought process, Drew, which way are you going to go with this?
First thing I did, Dr. Cavil, just out of curiosity, I went back and looked at the 2024 schedule for both of these both of these schools and to see how many home games they had versus this year. And both of them have the same amount of home games. Norfolk had 5 home games last year.
Good homework.
Norfolk has 5 home games this year. And actually, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. And A&T had 5 home games last year, 5 home games this year. Let's start with A&T. Of those 5 home games they had last year, 2 of those were HBCU opponents. One being Winston-Salem, one being Hampton. Yeah, those are their 2 HBCU opponents at home. I think it's honestly, on a business side, it's smart business. It's supply and demand. We know the demand for those HBCU games, especially since A&T has left an HBCU conference, are going to be higher. So you would be almost not making a good business decision not to increase basic economics 101, supply and demand. When supply is low and demand is high, you increase the price. That is what A&T did. And let's be real, some of them other games, they can't give tickets away. So, when we flip over to Hampton, to Norfolk, once again, same type scenario. You have the biggest draw as far as coaches go since Coach Prime left Jackson State. Let's just put that out there. And I'm gonna throw something on Charles, and Charles probably gonna get mad at me when I do this, but I'm gonna hold off on this. Just going over last year, at home, Virginia State, Hampton, Towson, Howard, and Delaware State were your 5 opponents for Norfolk. Pretty much the same thing this year. You've got your 2 MEAC games that you're playing at home. You've got Towson at home. You've got Norfolk at home, and I need to go back to the article. I was missing one other game. Sacred Heart. So you had another non-conference HBCU game at home. So, but you have Norfolk does not have the benefit of having the Vick to play in, which can hold 60,000 people. Norfolk doesn't have that benefit, so they have to maximize every dollar that they can. Once again, it would be a bad business decision for Norfolk not to take advantage of this. And let me say this before I ask Charles my question. Everybody, this is nothing but a little bit of market correction. Now, in these cases, because Norfolk has a premium product, i.e. Coach Vick, they can overcorrect this year. As long as Vick continues to draw the crowd. A&T doing some market correction. Y'all, the days of $30 tickets are long gone. Inflation, everything else. I'm surprised more institutions have not done it. But usually when you see these ticket price increase, you see $5 increases. You see $5 this year, $5 next year till you get to that number. With these 2 institutions, they dump all the way into the deep end. They're going $10, $20 at a time. Mm-hmm. And my question for you, Charles, before you get into your point, when Coach Prime came to Jackson State, refresh my memory, and because I really don't remember, did we see something similar in Mississippi with the ticket prices? Because you had Coach Prime as that premium draw. Did we see this type of market adjustment with you guys' tickets?
There was a market adjustment, but probably not to the extent that Norfolk State is doing it. But Bernie Mac said
part of it, like you said, is the facility.
Yeah.
So it's only so much you could do because you just had the availability in terms of ticketing spaces.
Yeah, I mean, this is the cost of doing business. I mean, Bernie Mac said it best in the Players Club. Welcome to the stripping game, partner. This is where we at. You know, this is part of it. I mean, and I think, like you said, the market correction was overdue. But I will say this, and you have to be very mindful with regards to the HBCU consumer. Dr. Bill, you've pointed this out. There's tiers to this, you know, in terms of the fan behavior, in terms of, you know, you have the premium person, you have the person who has never set foot on Jackson State's campus. Saturday is their thing, you know, and they're looking for an affordable ticket to come and watch their team. So you have to find that middle ground, you know, with regards to both of those fans that are coming to watch your team. But I think, yes, from a premium standpoint, you that's probably where you can, you know, hit that fan base up a little bit more, because, you know, they want to be in the scene seats and things of that nature, and let everybody know they're part of this program. And this is where we are with regards to NIL. I think, you know, that fan bases have a direct hand in helping your team get to where they can be.
Yeah. Everyone got you say, what if your mom heard the terminology? You in trouble. You in trouble.
Yeah. And it's funny we talk about this today as a draft went out on my account for the season tickets back home. So, you know, I was like, this is gonna be an interesting talk today.
Yeah, I had somebody come in my office with Texas Southern talking about the ticket prices going up, and they were feeling good about doing it, but at the same time they were paused about doing it as well.
Yeah, you know, one thing about HBCU sports outside of homecoming, because we know homecoming prices are homecoming prices, but all the rest of the home games have been.
I think homecoming prices will probably need a little market correction too. But don't let me say it too loud, because it might happen.
But you know, homecoming prices, we expect those kind of prices for homecoming. True, we don't expect those prices for the other 3, 4, 5 home games that we tend to have. But one thing about HBCU athletics, especially football, it's always been family friendly with our football, because not only can I go Dr. Cavil when I used to have to buy tickets, but I could also afford to take my children, my wife, my friends, and everything else to the game. And that's the one thing that I have a concern with, is will we price ourselves out where it is not family friendly? I'm glad some institutions still have kids tickets, student tickets, and things like that. When I say student tickets, I mean like high school students and everything like that. Group tickets, you know, because we still want to make it fan friendly as much as possible. But, you know, that's the one thing that we cannot do, because it won't hurt us now, Dr. Cavil, but it hurts our next generation of HBCU sports fans.
Absolutely.
If we can't get them in when they're Deuce's age, Dr. Cavil,
and
get them into that experience.
Great point. I guess the part I was going to add is I like the variability that you have in tickets in terms of opponents. And obviously you have it in terms of the real basic part, reserve tickets versus general admissions. I'm interested to see, are we going to move to the direction where we have variability tickets within with various teams, but also within the seat in the stadium in regards to where you seating, I should say. You know, in some stadiums, you know, you're at a lower level, which some people like those areas, or if you're around the 30, 40 yard line, you go to different ticket prices. Those tickets increase, right? Versus in your end zone there. I wonder how long we're going to take to get to that level where we see those type of variability.
How many of our stadiums can we do that in, first of all?
I'll take a look at the seating right around the band. That's where I would be like, because that's you know, people want to be around the band. I don't care.
That's another premium area. That's a premium area.
Yeah, but nobody wants to sit next to the student section for some reason. Them the $5 tickets right there.
Right. And the thing is will those start to close out, reduce the numbers, particularly when you get to capacity games? And I'm talking about particularly big rivalry games, if you want to call them that, or big matchups at the end of the season that have a lot on the line. You see that, and there's some unique positions where you have that Jackson State going in the road to Alabama State in terms of this FAMU. When you look at the seating capacity, Jackson State is in a little more of a unique position because they have such a large stadium. It'll be interesting that. But you're talking about when Jackson State goes to Southern, you have another case where those seats become a little more premium in terms of what that looks like. Jackson State, when they came to Texas Southern, obviously that was a unique situation when you had Coach Prime there. But it's fascinating to kind of see what that looks like. You got Jackson State now as a national championship team. What does that look like in terms of their home ticket prices? Those things are fascinating. And then you got to switch this over to other sports, such as basketball, when you have some of these smaller facilities, but teams that are playing really good basketball. What will that look like over the years?
Yeah, I'm curious who's going to be the first stadium manager who says, basically bring half the band because we need that seating. That to me is going to be a fascinating, especially an in-demand game. It's going to cause a lot of hell. But
yeah, especially when you talk about the rivalry games. That's going to be fascinating. We saw a little bit about that with
just like
A&T. Invite the visiting team, and part of that was going on. But we'll see. That was specific for homecoming where you have that unique situation.
Yeah, like G-Ho, the visitor band can never go to G-Ho because they have to sell those seats.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example of.
Just haven't seen it in the SWAC yet, but I'm curious like if I'm a Southern and Jackson State's coming to town, y'all can't bring the whole band. I need some of that seating.
Yeah.
That's true. That's gonna be interesting. But last thing I want to say on this, if there's nothing else that should force our HBCU fans to buy season tickets, it should be this, because when you sit there and you look at these individual costs of the tickets, when you do it on a per game average, and if the season ticket packages are priced right, when you're paying 25, 35, even up to 50% more to buy those games individually versus if I just give you this one lump sum. And a lot of people will let you finance the season tickets. What I mean finance, you can do the 3-pay or the 4-pay. You make your first payment in April, second payment in May, June, and July. I've seen them do that. That's what we need to get to, so that where we're getting all this money from, we're not getting it from our fan. We're getting it from the opposing fan. I should be paying more as a FAMUan going to Jackson, Mississippi, or going to Southern than a Southern fan, or than a Jackson State fan, or than a Prairie View fan. Because, it's just like when you rent a car, where they make up all these taxes to build these stadiums, they tax the people staying in the hotels and getting the rental cars. They don't tax the local citizens. So we need to try to keep a model similar to that, where the people coming in are taking a significant brunt of this new burden versus our loyal fans who live right here around the corner from us.
Good point. We'll take our last break quickly. Come back. We'll have a short one. We won't go too long, but I do want to get your thoughts.
Edwin. That's what he wants you to do. He was setting that up, and that's why he put that out there.
I have a nerve.
He gonna put the band on the outside of the stadium. Hey, y'all blow out there. We'll be right back after this break. Come back on the other side. We'll have a shorter segment, but I do want to ask the question: how do you define a great AD? I'll be right back, and we'll be right back on the other side.
Great AD is right here. Oh, you mean that AD? My bad.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC, Southern, Eagles, Jaguars, the Marching Sound Machine, the Human Jukebox. The kickoff trophy is up for grabs, and bragging rights are on the line. The rivalry is real. Bring the family and join us pre-game for the fun-filled Coca-Cola fan experience, including band jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets and information, visit MEACSWACchallenge.com.
It's like a loop machine. Going around town, trying to get down.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
This is
at Automaster.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Vick. We're inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Today's show, we got Charles Bishop and A.D. Drew bringing it home for us. So I wanted to get straight to it. Wanted to ask you, as we were released on Thursday, the top AD rankings that we've done annually. This will be our third edition. To see who comes on top. The first year it was Ashley Robinson. Last year it went over to Howard University with Kerry Davis getting in the mix, getting it done. We'll see. We've had folks like Dr. Jason Cavil, Alabama State University, Dr. Melody Webb of Norfolk State Spartans, getting it done. Has been right in the mix in terms of that. We've had Dr. Kevin Granger in the mix as well. It'll be fascinating to see who comes in on the top of the rankings this year in terms of what that looks like. We even had Grambling State's very own Dr. Travion Scott in the mix over the last year. So we'll see. Where are these individuals this year? And this is for the major division. We'll have to see if we can get one done for the mid-major division as well. I would challenge Drew, but that's unfair now that he's in the mix. So we have to kind of keep him and just get his thoughts on it. But we can't have him put the numbers together. So I got to find out some time to do it myself. With that being said, Charles, I wanted to get your thoughts. What are your parameters? How do you define? Obviously, not saying that we'll release in terms of our parameters, which obviously has the major sports, football, men's and women's basketball. We look at baseball and soccer. Baseball and softball, I should say. Then you have soccer in terms of your tennis. With your other Olympic sports, your all sports awards is limited in here. Do you win a national championship, which is geared towards football heavily in a lot of ways since it covers so much weight? Those are big parameters in terms of what goes in this. Fundraising, what does that look like? How do you put that together? Some of the parameters I use, but what are your thoughts in terms of what do you like to see when you think about some of the best ADs out there in HBCU sports, but really at the FCS Division II level for that matter? What do you look at?
Yeah, Al Davis said it best. Just win, baby. The health of the program. Do I have multiple programs that if they're not winning championships, are they in the thick of things? So, and I think, and I've shared this with Ashley, I think one of the things that has jumped out for me with him is the hiring. And then just sometimes just thinking out the box. My God. Talk about hitting a home run, hiring Deion Sanders. That's completely thinking out the box, because I remember the rumors, and it was like, and everybody's like, really? Seriously? It happened, and you saw where things took off from there. So, just going out making good sound hires, that's something that jumps out. Not only the fundraising, but it's communication. That is the huge thing for me. Ooh. If you're getting out in front of podcasts or getting out in front of your constituents, getting out in front of your fan base in terms of, here's the things that I'm looking at doing, this is what it's going to take, and this is where I need your help. If you lay out to me some sort of, whatever you want to call it, manifesto, 10-point plan, whatever the case might be, blueprint for success, that's what I want to hear. Those are the things that really fire me up in terms of what makes a good AD.
Great points. Drew, what direction you go? What do you look at when you think about what does it mean to have a great AD?
There's so much to unpack here, Dr.
Yeah.
Cavil. Let's start off with something simple. Are you doing the basics? Are you doing just the stuff that the 9 to 5 that you are required to do? Are you are you funding your programs? Are you getting good students in? Are your students getting the grades? The basic stuff that you have to do, and a lot of it goes unseen. And unfortunately, we don't know that you're not doing it until it hits excuse me, one of our HBCU blogs, because you screwed something up, something basic that you were supposed to do. So let's start off with that. Just doing what you're supposed to do. Stop trying to hit a grand slam with nobody on base. Then, but keeping with that same analogy, can you drive in the run when you need to? You got to run in scoring position with less outs. Are you driving in the run? That means, are you closing things that you should be doing? You got certain media deals and sponsorship deals. Are you closing those deals and bringing that value to your institution? That is something else that I look at. There's a lot really I'm trying to unpack here, and I'm trying to be as brief. Here's something else, Charles. I got to do a little self-deprecating right here. Dr. Cavil, Charles, FAMU will never be on your list, at least not in the next 3-4 years. Why? Because we can't stay out of the headlines with the negativity, and I think that's important for an athletic director. You've got to be able to keep all the bad chatter about your institution quiet. So that longevity, Dr. Cavil, I think needs to be there. You can't expect. We'll take Dr. Paul Bryant. Dr. Paul Bryant did a lot of good things in his first year at Alabama A&M, but because that was his first year, it's kind of hard to measure, because he's coming in and he's just swinging for the fences, throwing spaghetti against the wall, and he just happened to do good stuff, and the spaghetti stuck to the wall. But I need some type of longevity. I need a 2-3 year trend to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do, because that first year you really could be benefiting from your predecessor, and we just not realize that you're benefiting from your predecessor. So I need a little bit of longevity. Now, I ain't saying you got to be there 10 years or anything like that, but I need a couple 3-year trend in order to make sure that what I saw year one was real, or was it fool's gold? So longevity, and last thing, retention. Are you retaining your coaches, or are you turning coaches over every year? And if you are, and when I say that, I don't mean holding the coach back. If a coach does so well at your institution that they get an opportunity to go to a power conference or to another conference and improve their life, no problem with that. But if your coaches are leaving because they don't have facilities, they don't have scholarships or things like that, that's a negative mark. So, that retention of those coaches, is something else that I look at.
Let me follow on that point. I mean, retention of coaches, even the way you can continue to keep finding good coaches. I mean, Jackson State, from a football perspective, went from Coach Prime to TC Taylor, hit that one out the park. Yeah. Even when you lose Jackson State's women's basketball coach, Margaret Richards, came in first year, did a hell of a job. Mo Williams is playing for the SWAC championship this past season.
Look at Southern basketball, Southern football. There's another good example of good hires by the current athletic director. Not to be cutting you off there, Charles.
No, but I'm saying in terms of just continuing to churn talent within your program, I think that goes a long way, and it keeps the wolves off your behind. So,
good stuff. Dr. Israel Carey talked about a good AD is a revenue generating AD, and I would have to agree with that. You have to be able to generate funds, but I'm always curious in terms of how do you see revenue? Are you talking about revenue from game guarantees, whether it's football or basketball? And some of that has to take place. Are you talking about revenue from in-kind gifts? Are you talking about revenue in terms of what comes from the school to offset those kind of things and your ability to maybe negotiate more money from the schools of support? Or are you talking about outside where you're getting not just in-kind gifts, but direct revenues from sponsors? Or do you look at it collectively? All of that.
Can I say all of the above?
All of the above, yeah. You know, every time I look up, Jackson State has some sort of campaign. JSU by 40, JSU by, you know, the 80 club. I mean, they continuously have a campaign in terms of generating some revenue. So that is one of those things that sort of jumps out for me. And I've shared that with Ashley before, but I see it around this conference. I think we are in a very unique time frame in terms of the ADs that are within this conference. Very business-minded individuals, and in terms of some of the things that you're starting to see them do with partnerships, strategic partnerships, with corporate partnerships. I mean, those things are really starting to jump out, and I'm very, I guess, excited about the health of this conference because of some of the people that are working in the athletic departments.
Yeah, and let me add to that. Let me add to that with some of the revenue share. You talked about the corporate and everything else, which is fine. But even some of the ways that you're able to, and I hate to say squeeze another dollar out of your constituents, but to generate more value from your people who invest in you, who are your alumni and your fans. Like we take Alabama A&M and Alabama State with the cabanas at their football game. Yeah. The way Ashley Robinson was able to convince his constituents, we got to add these $2 on to fund NIL. You know that. You know everybody can't do that, man. Everybody can't go in front of their fan base and say, "I'm supposed to add a surcharge to your ticket prices." For this, I don't care. Hell, I don't want to pay what the price is now. You have to have the charisma and the relationship with your fan base in order to pull off something like that. And we see countless examples of this in all of these conferences with these athletic directors. Those are just a couple of specific ones I wanted to bring up.
The good hires.
A lot of examples.
Yeah,
we'll see what the list looks like.
The good hires buys you some goodwill, so you can go out and ask your fan base for a little bit of
great comments today. I want to say thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta, Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, come from Inside the Lab, and the College of HBCU Sports, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. I did want to add that I also like ADs that find a way to create nice matchups, whether it's in football, basketball, men's and women's, baseball and softball, where they bringing in other HBCU teams, bringing in other high-level FCS programs, but creating fan-interested matchups, I think are good. And going to and celebrating teams and supporting them to be able to go to some of these classics that are out there, particularly in cities where athletes and fans would like to go. I think that is a great variable, creating those matchups for fans. I wanted to add that last piece. Before we say, again, we want to thank you for listening. Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be right back here on Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. We look forward to then when we'll discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattaCavil. That's Threads, Facebook, and Instagram, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, and YouTube on Facebook. I want to say this. We talk about sports here, but we're not ignoring all the things that's going around us. Stay safe, stay strong. Obviously, we got a lot of things that are extremely disturbing. And although we don't necessarily talk about it here, it's not because we're not aware and not dealing with it in some type of form of fashion. So I wanted to say for those that are having to deal with it directly and indirectly, prayers for you. And that is not just here in the United States, but across the world. And those folks that in a lot of ways are being mistreated, regardless of how you frame it. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Course.
Drew.
Lecture.
Dismiss.
Drop a light, everybody.